Hi, I thought I'd come out and get some shots today. As you can see, I'm standing in bright sunshine. It's a beautiful day. It's freezing cold, by the way, but it's a beautiful day. And the reason I come out today is to use this little guy here. I'm using the Sony a7 III and I'm using a Konica Hexanon AR 40mm lens, and it's a 1.8 manual focus lens made around the 80s, and I thought I would just come out and give it a try because I hate the thought of old lenses just sitting on a shelf not being used. And I picked this one up pretty reasonable. I think I only paid like £60 for it, which some people might say is too much, but I have taken some photographs with it already, and I like the look of it. It's quite a nice little lens, but I thought I'd give it another try today and also let you have a look at the photographs that I take with it. And maybe this is something that you might be interested in doing at some time in the future. You don't always have to go out and buy a €1,000 lens or a £1,000 lens. Now, I've got expensive lenses in my bag, but that's not the point. The point is this is no longer sitting on the shelf collecting dust. Let's see what results we get with it. So the downside to this little lens is the fact that it's manual focus, and since I struggle a little bit with focusing, my eyes are not quite what they used to be. It's a bit of a challenge, but using the Sony a7 III, that allows me to zoom in, manually focus, zoom out, take the shot. So it's not a huge challenge now if I'm using the a7 III. So they work very well together. So anyway, let's start getting some shots. Okay, so the first shot I'm going to take is of these frozen leaves. There is enough light coming through the trees to make this possible, but with a 1.8 lens, it doesn't need to be that bright anyway. But I will be shooting this about f4 because I'd like to use the prime aperture of this lens if I can find out what that is. I'm guessing it's going to be about f4, f5.6. A couple of stops down from wide open. So let's get the shot. Let's set up and get the shot. Okay, so I've set up the shot. The exposure is f5.6 at 1/60th of a second, ISO 100. I have zoomed in and used the magnifier to focus, so it's pin sharp, or should be. I just need to take the shot, and I've got it on the 2-second timer. There you go, that's the shot. That's the shot. So another thing to consider when you're using this lens is it's a fixed focal length. If you want to zoom, you just got to use your feet. So get these gloves off. And since it's an old lens, it doesn't have modern lens coatings to reduce flare, and this is probably one of the worst situations to put this lens into. It's directly under the sun. There you go. So at 40mm, it's a decent focal length to get landscapes as well. So I've just set up this shot leading down the path. Not a lot of colour, it's middle of winter now. Cut out most of the sky, so exposure is f22 at 1.3 seconds, or 1 1/3 seconds. And that's at f22. Probably not the best aperture on this lens. So I'm going to take the same shot at f16. And since I'm shooting in aperture priority because it's a manual lens that won't register with the camera, you've got to enable shoot without lens in the menu in the camera, otherwise it won't work. And then the same shot again at f11. And we're down to 1/6 of a second now. So that'll give me an idea of what's a better aperture. I'm sure f11 will be a better image than the one at f22. So please don't get any panic. This is a disused railway. It does lead on to an actual functioning railway, but this part is deserted and has been for a long time. And just around that bend up there is a fallen tree. There's no way a train's coming in error. So having said that, if you ever find yourself in a situation like this, just be very careful. Okay, this is going to be taken at 1/15 of a second, and hopefully this will give you an idea of what this little lens is actually capable of. Okay, so I'm back in the house, and I'd just like to sum up what my feelings are on this lens. Now, bearing in mind that if you went out and you bought a 51.8 lens, it's going to set you back, I don't know, probably £200-300 for a decent quality lens for the Sony. This 40mm lens from Konica, it's not the newest lens, it's only manual focus. It's a pretty decent performer. It's a prime lens, so the only way to zoom is use your feet. And as you'll see in a minute, the photographs come out pretty well. Some issues with it, there's flare, clarity might not be the best, but that's also dependent on the conditions that you're using it in. Overall, I'm very happy with it. It only cost me, as I said, I think I touched on earlier, about €60. Quite a saving. And if I was to say that this lens was to be suited to any particular genre of photography, this would make, I think, an ideal lens for street photography. It's sharp, it's got a large aperture, 1.8, it gives good quality, you use the zone focus system, you get decent shots. Would I recommend it? Yeah, I would recommend it. Recommend it for anybody who wants to go out and just be involved in the whole idea of photography. Not every lens you own has to be autofocus. Not every lens you own has to be even a new lens. So hopefully you found this helpful, interesting, and if you did, please consider subscribing to my channel and click the like button. Thanks very much. Till next time.